The last words my father spat at me echoed like gunfire in the sterile hum of the airport terminal. If that's who you are, then you're no son of mine. Get the hell out and don't come back. I stood there, backpack slung over one shoulder, staring at the one-way ticket clutched in my trembling hand, the ink blurring as tears hit the paper. Heathrow's vast expanse swallowed me whole, a 20-year-old kid from Kansas City, exiled to a foreign country with nothing but $200 in my pocket and a heart shattered into 1,000 jagged pieces. I remember the flight over the Atlantic like a fever dream. 6 hours of staring out the window at endless clouds, replaying the scene in our cramped living room back home. Mom had just frozen, her coffee mug slipping from her fingers to shatter on the hardwood floor, while Dad's face turned the color of storm clouds. I'd finally said it, after years of choking it down. I'm gay. I can't pretend anymore. The silence that followed was worse than any scream. By morning, they'd booked the ticket, packed a duffel with my clothes, and driven me to Kansas City International in icy quiet. At the security gate, Dad shoved a wad of cash into my hand. Enough to get you started, then you're on your own. And Mom whispered, "We love you, but this we can't accept," before turning away like I was already a ghost. Now, here I was, in London, a city I'd only seen in movies, feeling like an intruder in my own skin. The arrivals hall buzzed with reunions, families hugging, lovers kissing, signs waving high. But I was adrift, a shipwrecked sailor scanning for any familiar face that wasn't there. My aunt in Bristol was supposed to pick me up, but her text had come mid-flight. "Sorry, Randy, family emergency. Cabot." No address, no money for a cab, just the crushing weight of abandonment settling in my chest like lead. I slumped against a pillar, the cold marble biting through my jeans, and let the sobs come, ugly and unrestrained. Strangers glanced but kept walking. This was England. After all, stiff upper lips and all that. That's when he appeared. Not like some rom-com savior striding through the crowd, but quietly, like he'd materialized from the shadows. A guy about my age, tall and lanky with messy dark hair falling over wire-rimmed glasses, carrying a stack of lost luggage forms. He was in a rumpled airport uniform, the name tag reading Vincent Hale, customer service. His eyes, hazel, sharp, like they could cut through fog, locked on me, and instead of the polite nod Brits are famous for, he crouched down, level with my misery. "Hey, mate," he said, his accent pure London Cockney, softened by something warmer. "You look like the world's just ended. Need a hand?" I wiped my face, embarrassed, but his voice had this steady pull, like an anchor in a storm. "My family's. They." The word stuck, but he didn't push. Just sat there on the floor with me, cross-legged like we were old mates at a pub, and handed me a crumpled tissue from his pocket. "Parents can be right bastards sometimes," he murmured, not prying, just stating it like fact. "I'm Vincent. What's your name, lost soul?" "Randy." I managed, the syllables foreign on my tongue in this place. "Randy Whitaker. From the States. They sent me here. One way." His brow furrowed, but not in pity, more like quiet fury on my behalf. "Sent you?" "Like luggage." He shook his head, standing and offering a hand up. "Come on, then. Can't have you camping out here. Shift ends in 10. I'll sort you a cuppa and a plan." I took his hand, warm and calloused from what I later learned were guitar strings, and for the first time since the living room blow-up, I didn't feel utterly alone. Vincent led me to a break room behind the service desk, a cramped space smelling of instant coffee and stale biscuits. He brewed 2 mugs, strong, milky tea that burned my tongue but thawed something inside, and as I sipped, the dam broke. I spilled it all, the closet I'd hidden in since high school, the crushes on baseball teammates I'd buried under straight-A grades, and church youth group, the way I'd finally cracked after my best friend Jake ghosted me post-graduation when I confessed my feelings over cheap beer at a backyard bonfire. I thought telling them would free me, I said, voice cracking. Instead, they shipped me off like defective goods. Vincent listened, chin propped on his hand, those hazel eyes never wavering. He didn't interrupt with platitudes. When I finished, he just nodded. My old man did something similar when I came out at 16. Didn't exile me abroad, mind. Kicked me to the curb in Camden with a sleeping bag and a good riddance. Lived in squats for a year till I clawed my way into uni and this gig. You're not defective, Randy. You're just displaced. But London's got room for strays like us. Us. The word hung there, simple but electric. He was gay too. Out and unapologetic, from the rainbow pin on his lanyard to the easy way he talked about exes without flinching. By the time his shift wrapped, he'd convinced me to crash at his flat in East London, a tiny one-bed in Hackney with peeling wallpaper and a view of brick walls. No strings, he insisted as we hopped the tube, my backpack thumping against my legs. Just a couch and some takeaway. Tomorrow, we figure the ant thing. That night, as rain pattered against the window and Vincent strummed his guitar softly, some indie folk tune about lost boys finding their way, I lay on the lumpy sofa, staring at the ceiling cracks that looked like veins. Exile. That's what this was. But in the dim glow of his bedside lamp spilling into the hall, with the scent of curry lingering from dinner, I felt the first flicker of something dangerous, hope. Or maybe it was him, Vincent, with his crooked smile and unflinching kindness. Either way, sleep came uneasy, dreams tangled with Kansas sunsets and London fog. The next morning dawned gray and drizzly, the kind of English weather that seeps into your bones. Vincent was already up, frying eggs in a pan that had seen better days, humming off-key to the radio. "Morning, Exile," he greeted, sliding a plate my way. "Text from your aunt." I checked my phone. Nothing. Just a voicemail from Mom, her voice thin and rehearsed. "Randy, we've prayed on this. Your father's firm. When you're ready to change, come home. Until then, make do. Delete." The anger surged hot, familiar, but Vincent's presence dulled its edge. He didn't ask, just poured orange juice and launched into airport gossip to distract me. Tales of celebrity meltdowns and misplaced pets. By noon, we'd hatched a plan. I'd email Aunt Clara in Bristol, beg for coordinates, while Vincent covered my tube fare to job hunt. "You've got that all-American charm," he teased, ruffling my hair as we headed out. "Bet you could bus tables or something. London's full of Yanks reinventing themselves." The city unfolded like a feverish postcard, red double-deckers rumbling past Georgian terraces, street vendors hawking chestnuts, the Thames snaking silver under iron bridges. Vincent played tour guide, pointing out graffiti murals in Shoreditch that screamed rebellion, a far cry from the manicured lawns of my suburban upbringing. We grabbed falafel wraps from a market stall, eating on a bench in a pocket park where dog walkers eyed us curiously. "See," he said, ketchup on his chin. "Not so bad, yeah? Better than rotting in arrivals." He was right, in fleeting moments. But as the day wore on, the jet lag crashed in, mingled with the hollow ache of betrayal. What if Aunt Clara ghosted me too? What if I ended up like those stories Vincent hinted at? Homeless, hustling for scraps in a city that chewed up dreams. By evening, as we trudged back to the flat, my phone buzzed. Clara's reply. "Randy, darling, so sorry. Hospital with your uncle. Stay put in London? Can wire £200 next week. Love you." Relief warred with panic. £200 wouldn't stretch far. Vincent caught my expression. "Crash here, till then. Rent's shite anyway. Might as well have company." His grin was lopsided, genuine, and when our shoulders brushed in the narrow hallway, a spark jumped, unbidden. I pulled back, cheeks burning. He was just being kind, right? A lifeline tossed to a drowning stranger. But that night, as I pretended to sleep, listening to his even breaths from the bedroom, I wondered if lifelines could turn into something more tangled, more vital. Days blurred into a fragile routine. Vincent's shift started at dawn, leaving me to pound pavements for work, barista gigs, warehouse stocking, anything to not be a burden. Rejections piled up. My American accent marked me as a temp at best, a liability at worst. Mornings, we'd share toast slathered in Marmite, which I pretended to like. Evenings devolved into vinyl spins and confessions over cheap lager. He told me about his mom, a nurse who'd hugged him fierce when he came out, and his dad, the ghost who'd bailed years ago. "Family's not blood, Randy," he'd say, clinking bottles. "It's who sticks when the shit hits." I opened up too, the suffocating Sundays at First Baptist, where Pastor Hale, ironic name, preached fire and brimstone on sodomites. The way I'd excelled at football to prove my manhood, only to quit senior year when locker room glances lingered too long. Jake's betrayal stung sharpest. Dude, that's messed up. Can't be friends with that. Vincent squeezed my knee once. During that story, his touch lingering a beat too long. Their loss, cowboy, he murmured. You're gold. Was I? In those quiet hours, with London humming outside, I started to believe it. Attraction crept in slow, like fog off the river. His laugh lines when he teased my Midwestern drawl. The way his fingers danced over guitar strings, coaxing melodies that mirrored the ache in my chest. One night, after a pint too many at the local, the Fox and Hounds, a dive with sticky floors and drag nights. He leaned in close, breath warm against my ear. You're not just passing through, are you, Randy? This city's growing on you. On me? Or him? Our eyes met, the air thick with unspoken want, but I chickened out, mumbling about the jet lag. Back home, he crashed on the bed beside me, couch too lumpy, and in the dark, our hands brushed. Neither pulled away. Sleep came fitful, charged with possibility, the first real dream since touchdown, not of exile, but of belonging. But hope's a fragile thing, and mine shattered 2 weeks in, on a rain-lashed Tuesday. I'd landed a gig, dishwasher at a Soho cafe, minimum wage but steady, and rushed home early, buzzing to tell Vincent. The flat door was ajar, voices spilling out low and urgent. I froze in the hall, eavesdropping like a fool. I can't keep this up, Vi. A voice said, deep and accented, not Vincent's. He's sweet. Yeah, but you're rebounding hard. What about us? You promised. Shut it, Marcus. Vincent hissed, panic edging his tone. It's not like that. Randy's just vulnerable. I'm helping, all right? Doesn't change what we had. My stomach plummeted. Marcus? The ex he'd mentioned once, casually, as water under the bridge. Heart hammering, I pushed the door open. There they were. Vincent on the sofa, Marcus, tall, blonde, built like a rugby prop, pacing, both jumping like guilty kids. The air reeked of lies, of secrets stashed in the corners of this shoebox life. You two? I choked, backpack sliding to the floor. Vincent's face crumpled, hazel eyes wide with horror. Randy, wait, it's not. But it was. The betrayal hit like Dad's parting shot, fresh and vicious. I'd been the fool, the pity project, while Vincent played house with his ghost. I grabbed my bag, storming out into the downpour, London blurring to gray. How could I trust again? Exile wasn't just from family. It was from everyone, a one-way ticket to nowhere. Rain hammered the pavement like accusations as I bolted from Vincent's flat, the streets of Hackney swallowing me in a blur of neon signs and puddles. My shirt clung cold to my skin, but the chill in my gut was worse. Raw, gnawing betrayal twisting like a knife. Marcus's words looped in my head, rebounding hard. So that's what I was, a distraction, a Yankee stray to soothe Vincent's ego after his breakup. I'd let myself believe in the sparks, the late-night talks, the way his gaze lingered like a promise. Stupid. So fucking stupid. I ducked into a bus shelter, gasping for breath, phone buzzing ignored in my pocket. Text from the cafe boss. Shift tomorrow, kid, don't flake. From Aunt Clara. Wired the cash, check your account. But from Vincent? A flood. Randy, please. Let me explain. It's not what you think. Delete, delete, block. I couldn't hear it, not now. The shelter's plastic roof drummed with rain, mirroring the storm in my chest. Back in Kansas, I'd mastered burying pain, smiling through church potlucks, acing exams to drown the loneliness. But here, exposed and adrift, it clawed free, demanding air. By midnight, soaked and shivering, I washed up at a 24-hour McDonald's in Dalston, nursing a coffee that tasted like regret. The cashier, a tired Pakistani guy named Amir, eyed my dripping state. Rough night, bruv. Shelter's round the corner if you need. Nah, I'm good. I lied, flashing a grin that didn't reach my eyes. Just acclimating. He nodded. No judgment. London's underbelly had that mercy. I scrolled job sites on free Wi-Fi, crashing on the booth seat till dawn, dreams fractured with images of Vincent's crooked smile morphing into Dad's scowl. Morning brought fragile resolve. I claimed Clara's wire, pound 200, a lifeline, and booked a cheap B&B in Whitechapel, the kind with thin walls and shared baths. It smelled of mildew and curry, but it was mine, paid week to week. The cafe shift dragged, scrubbing grease till my hands pruned, but the rhythm numbed me, a penance for my naivety. Evenings, I wandered the East End alone, tracing Vincent's haunts, the guitar shop where he'd haggle for strings, the park bench where we'd shared falafel. Anger ebbed to ache. I missed his laugh, the way he'd hum Dylan covers to chase my blues. But trust? Shattered irreparable. A week in, the cafe's owner, Maria, a no-nonsense Italian with a soft spot for strays, pulled me aside. You got fire in you, Randy. Ever thought of front of house? Tips are decent, and you charm the punters. Promotion. A crack of light. I threw myself in, memorizing the menu, cracking jokes in my twangy accent that drew laughs and lingering glances. One regular, Theo, a graphic designer with inked arms and a shy smile, started chatting me up, compliments on my pour, invites to gallery openings. He was cute, uncomplicated, out and proud without the baggage. Fancy a pint after? He'd ask, eyes hopeful. I said yes once, nerves jangling. The pub was cozy, fire crackling, but as Theo leaned in, sharing his coming-out war stories, supportive parents, pride parades, I froze. His hand on mine felt wrong, like borrowing someone else's skin. Sorry, I muttered, pulling back. Not ready. He nodded, gracious, but the rejection stung me more. Vincent's shadow loomed everywhere, a ghost I couldn't exorcise. Then came the call I dreaded. Mom, late one night, her voice tinny over spotty Wi-Fi. Randy, we've been worried. Your father's softening. Come home for Thanksgiving. We can talk, maybe see a counselor. The old me would have leaped, begged for forgiveness, crammed back into the closet. But exile had hardened me, like London rain on soft earth. Talk about what, Mom? Fixing me? I'm not broken. Silence stretched, then her sob. We love you. Just come back. I hung up, chest tight, the decision a boulder on my ribs. Return to Kansas, to conditional love and endless pretending? Or fight for this patchwork life, scars and all? Vincent found me before I could spiral deeper. I'd blocked him, but London was small for broken hearts. He appeared at the cafe during a lull, drenched from a sprint, glasses fogged. Maria shot me a look. Handle it, and I dragged him to the alley out back, bins reeking of yesterday's specials. What the hell, Vince? I spat, arms crossed. Come to explain your little secret? He winced, running hands through wet hair. Marcus. He's my ex, yeah? We broke up 3 months ago, messy, with him cheating. He showed up unannounced, begging for another go. I told him no, but then you walked in. His eyes pleaded raw. Randy, from the airport, it was real. You're not a rebound. You're the first guy who's made me feel steady, like I could build something. Lies, my brain screamed, but my heart wavered, traitorous. Why hide him? Why let me think? Pride, he admitted, voice cracking. Stupid male ego. Didn't want you seeing me as the heartbroken loser. He stepped closer, rain dripping from his lashes. Give me a chance to prove it. Dinner. No pressure. Just us. I wanted to shove him away, to scream about the fresh wounds he'd ripped open. But those hazel eyes, the ones that had anchored me in arrivals, held steady. One dinner. I relented, hating the hope flickering back. Screw it up, and you're gone for good. That night, at a hole-in-the-wall Italian in Clerkenwell. Candlelit tables, Chianti in mismatched glasses, we danced around the minefield. He owned his fuck up, no excuses. I panicked, thought you'd bolt if you knew the drama. I unloaded too, the terror of the flight, the voicemail from Mom, the temptation to flee home. I'm scared, Vince. Of this city, of you, of me. His hand covered mine across the table, thumb tracing circles. Then be scared together. I'm not going anywhere. The kiss happened slow, inevitable. After gelato, under street lamps on the walk home, his lips soft and tentative against mine. Fireworks, but deeper, like roots finding soil. We tumbled into my B&B room, not rushing, just holding on in the narrow bed, whispers and laughter chasing shadows. For the first time, I felt seen, not as the gay son to fix, or the stray to pity, but as Randy, whole and worthy. But peace is fleeting in stories like ours. A fortnight later, as autumn leaves turned the parks to gold, Vincent dropped the bomb over breakfast, burnt toast, and black tea. Got news. My mom's offered me her old flat in Bristol, rent-free, near uni for night classes. And there's a job opening at the airport there. Better pay. Bristol. Aunt Clara's turf, hours away by train. Joy sparked. Proximity to family, stability, but dread coiled tight. You're leaving? My voice cracked, the airport loneliness crashing back. Not leaving you, he insisted, gripping my hands. Come with? We could make it work, sublet here, road trip weekends. Or visit, see where it goes. His grin was boyish, hopeful, but doubt-gnawed. Was this another pivot, him running from mess? From me? I pulled away, heart pounding. I need time. Days blurred into turmoil. Shifts at the cafe a haze. Theo's lingering glances a guilty distraction. Mom called again, insistent. Thanksgiving's in 2 weeks. Your ticket's booked. Return, one way back if you want. The irony burned. A round trip now, when exile had been final. Return to safety, to a family inching toward acceptance via therapy? Or chase this fragile love, risk another heartbreak in a foreign land? Vincent gave space, but notes appeared. Postcards slipped under my door, scribbled lyrics about bridges over troubled waters. One evening, I cracked, showing up at his flat drunk on courage and pub ale. I'm in, I blurted, collapsing onto his couch. Bristol. Us. Relief flooded his face. We celebrated tangled in sheets. Not carnal, but connected, bodies and souls aligning like stars. Packing was chaos, duffels stuffed with memories, goodbyes to Maria and Amir, a tearful tube ride to Paddington. As the train rattled west, Vincent's head on my shoulder, I texted Mom. Not coming home yet. Working on me. Love you. Her reply. Proud, baby. Call soon. A small victory, human and hard one. Bristol welcomed us damp and defiant, the Avon River mirroring our tentative steps. Vincent's new flat overlooked the harbor, sunlight glinting off water like promise. Aunt Clara enveloped me in hugs and home-cooked roasts, her own stories of queer kin lost and found weaving us closer. Work stabilized, me at a harborside bistro, him at the airport, and nights filled with music, walks, the slow build of trust. But shadows lingered. Marcus texted Vincent once, a slimy miss you that he deleted, showing me the screen. No secrets, he vowed. And when Dad's email arrived, stiff, apologetic, son, we're trying. When you're ready. I replied with a photo. Me and Vincent on the Clifton suspension bridge, arms linked, city sprawling below. This is me, Dad. Ready or not? We weren't fixed, not by a long shot. Arguments flared, over money, distance from London friends, the pull of home across the ocean. One night, after a row about my hesitance to visit Kansas, Vincent stormed out, returning hours later with bruised knuckles from punching a wall. I can't lose you to fear, he confessed, ice on his hand. But I won't chain you either. That rawness deepened us, forcing truths, my terror of rejection, his abandonment scars from Dad. Therapy helped, NHS sessions for him, online Zoom for me with a Kansas counselor who'd get it. We learned to fight fair, to hold space for pain without fleeing. Thanksgiving came virtual, Clara's table groaning with turkey facsimile, Mom and Dad on screen, awkward but present. Who's the lad? Dad grunted, nodding at Vincent's wave. Friend, I said simple. Progress, inch by inch. Winter thawed to spring, Bristol blooming with possibility. We buskied together sometimes, him on guitar, me humming harmonies, drawing crowds with our story in song. One dawn, on that same bridge where we'd posed, Vincent knelt, not with a ring but a promise, a silver chain with 2 pendants, intertwined. Not forever yet, he said, voice thick. But always, if you'll have me. Tears blurred the view, but I nodded, pulling him up into an embrace that spanned oceans and exiles. We weren't heroes, just 2 boys who'd chosen love over leaving, vulnerability over vaults. Home wasn't a place anymore. It was here, in the crook of his arm, the beat of his heart against mine. Back in Kansas, seasons turned without me, but calls grew warmer, visits planned for summer. I'd return, not as the prodigal to repent, but as Randy, scarred, sovereign, surrounded by the family I'd forged. Vincent and we'd weather storms, I knew, betrayals past, conflicts future. But in the quiet moments, watching the Avon flow steady, I felt it. Redemption, not grand but granular, human as the rain. Summer hit Bristol like a reluctant guest, warm spells between showers, the harbor alive with tourists and gulls wheeling overhead. Vincent and I had settled into a rhythm, the kind that feels earned, not effortless. Mornings tangled in sheets, him sketching designs for his graphic side hustle while I prepped for brunch shifts. Evenings on the waterfront, sharing fish and chips wrapped in newsprint, debating everything from Brexit fallout to Springsteen's glory days. He'd turn me onto British indie, Arctic Monkeys, Florence and the Machine, while I infected him with classic rock anthems, belting Born to Run, off-key in the kitchen till neighbors banged brooms. But beneath the domestic bliss, fissures simmered. My Kansas ghosts wouldn't stay buried. Dad's emails evolved from curt check-ins to tentative olive branches. Saw a game. Reminded me of your throws. Mom forwarded church bulletins, subtle nudges toward healing ministries she swore were progressive now. I replied politely, but each ping reopened the wound, a reminder of the love I'd bartered for authenticity. Vincent noticed, of course. His perceptiveness was both gift and curse. "You're drifting, love," he'd say softly, tracing my frown lines. "Talk to me." I tried, but words faltered. How to explain the tug of war? The boy who'd craved his father's nod at Little League games, now a man weighing forgiveness against self-preservation. One July evening, after a particularly loaded call, Mom crying, "We miss your laugh at the table, Randy." I snapped at Vincent over nothing. Burnt toast, his humming too loud. "Just drop it, okay? Not everything's a therapy session." He recoiled, hurt flashing before the wall went up, that Cockney stoicism masking deeper cuts. "Fine. Stew alone, then." He grabbed his jacket, heading to the pub, leaving me with the acrid smoke and self-loathing. Hours later, he returned buzzed, not drunk, collapsing beside me on the couch. "Sorry," we mumbled in unison, collapsing into apologies and make-up sex. Tender, reaffirming, but laced with the fear that our foundations might crack under pressure. Aunt Clara became our anchor, her Bristol bungalow a haven of no-bullshit wisdom. Over tea in her sunroom, surrounded by cat hair and dog-eared novels, she'd pat my hand. "Family's a marathon, lad, not a sprint. Your folks are dinosaurs, but they're trying. Give 'em grace, but not at your expense." She'd lost a brother to AIDS in the 80s. She confessed one afternoon, voice steady but eyes distant. "Taught me, love's not conditional, or it's not love." Her stories grounded me, weaving Vincent and me into her tapestry of survivors. Work steadied too. The bistro promoted me to server, tips flowing from American expats who lit up at my accent, swapping tales of hometowns. Theo, my London flirt, even visited once. All easy camaraderie, no awkwardness. "You two are solid," he said, clapping Vincent's back. "Don't fuck it up." We laughed, but the warning lingered. Solidity felt fragile, like harbor mist. Then August brought the curveball, the kind that upends lives with surgical precision. Vincent's phone rang during a rare day off. His mom, voice hushed and urgent. "Vi, love, it's Nana. Stroke. In hospital. Can you come?" Panic etched his face. Nana was his rock, the one who'd stitched his coming-out wounds with fairy cakes and fierce hugs. Bristol to her in Manchester was drivable, but shifts loomed, rent due. "I'll cover," I said instantly, no hesitation. "Go. I'll hold the fort." He hugged me bone-crushing, whispering thanks, and was gone by dusk, Mini Cooper rattling north. The first days were manageable, extra shifts netting overtime, Clara dropping casseroles. Texts from Vincent painted grim pictures. "Nana's weak, but fighting. Miss you." I replied with hearts and memes, playing strong. But solitude amplified doubts. Alone in our flat, the bed too big, I fielded the call I'd dreaded. "Dad," unprompted. "Randy, your mother's pushing. Visit soon?" We've enrolled in PFLAG. Learning. Flag. Parents, families, and friends of lesbians and gays. The irony twisted sweet and sharp. "Really?" I pressed, skeptical but softening. "No sermons." "None," he grunted, voice gruff with effort. "Just want my boy back." The boy. Not the man, but close enough. I booked the ticket. Cheap flight to Kansas City, overlapping Vincent's absence. "Tell him when he's back," I rationalized. "It's just recon." Homecoming blurred surreal. The airport arrivals sign. Welcome, Randy and Mom's loopy script. Hit like a gut punch. Hugs were stiff but real, Dad's backslap lingering. The house smelled of apple pie and memory, my old room untouched. Posters of Nolan Ryan, Bible on the nightstand. Dinners were tentative minefields. Questions about London tiptoeing around the boyfriend, as they phrased it. Sounds nice, Mom ventured, passing potatoes. Dad nodded, adding, proud you're standing tall. It cracked me open. Late nights, I drive the back roads, windows down, radio blasting country ballads that echoed my ache. Jake texted, heard you're in town. Beers? And against better judgment, I met him at our old dive. He was engaged now, to a sorority girl, life scripted straight. Missed you, man, he said, clapping my shoulder too hard. That thing. Youth, right? The casual erasure ignited old fury. Not a phase, Jake. It's me. We parted cool, but the encounter festered, a reminder of stakes. Vincent called daily, voice strained. Nana's stabilizing. How's the heartland? I hedged. Fine, unpacking baggage, but guilt gnawed. When he announced returning early. Need you, cowboy. Panic spiked. Confession time. He arrived windswept, pulling me into a kiss that tasted of motorway coffee and relief. Over fish pie at Clara's, I spilled. The trip, the softening parents, the Jake run-in. His face shifted, pride mingling with something shadowed. Good on you, facing demons. But you didn't tell me first. Hurt laced his tone, a mirror to my own past wounds. I didn't want a burden. Bollocks, he cut in, gentle but firm. We're partners, Randy, not Minders. The argument escalated in the car home, voices rising over dashboard lights, accusations flying. My secrecy a betrayal, his distance during Nana's crisis a wall. You shut me out too. I yelled, tears hot. He pulled over on a dark lane, engine ticking, and we sat in fuming silence till he reached for my hand. Sorry, he whispered. Nana's scare. Brought up Dad leaving. Made me cling harder. I nodded, the dam breaking. Kansas stirred the pot. Felt like choosing sides. We talked till stars wheeled, forging a pact. Total transparency, no ghosts unshared. September sharpened the air, but our bond toughened too. Couples counseling via app, date nights at harbor jazz clubs. Nana rallied, visiting for a weekend, her twinkling eyes appraising Vincent. Treat him right, or I'll haunt ya. Laughter healed. Yet controversy brewed, unbidden. A tabloid storm hit, some politicians' anti-LGBTQ rant sparking protests. Vincent, ever the activist, dragged me to a march in London, rainbow flags waving, chants echoing. Adrenaline surged, but a counter-protester shoved me, spitting freak, echoing Pastor Hale's pulpit thunder. Vincent shielded me, fury blazing, but later, in the train home, I unraveled. What if they never change? What if home's poison? He held me as sobs racked. Then we make our own home. Here. Now. That night, vulnerability peaked. He confessed a buried fear. Fertility dreams dashed by a teen accident. The ache of potential fatherhood lost. Didn't want to scare you off. I kissed his temple. Scared together, remember? October's leaves carpeted the suspension bridge, our ritual walk. Mom sent photos. Family harvest fest. Empty chairs circled in red. Your spot. Tears pricked. Progress. Painful but palpable. I planned a Christmas visit. Vincent in tow. Meet the folks. I joked, half terrified. He grinned. All in. But fate's not done twisting. Mid-month. Nana worsened. Pneumonia complicating the stroke. Vincent's vigil stretched, him shuttling Manchester-Bristol. Exhaustion carving hollows under his eyes. I juggled shifts, Clara's help, but cracks showed. Missed anniversaries, curt texts. One night, he snapped, "Can't you see I'm drowning?" and stormed to a mate's. Alone, paranoia bloomed. Was this the end? Another abandonment? Clara found me pacing. Breathe, lad. Love's not linear. Her words steadied, but when Vincent returned, haggard, apologetic, the reconciliation was raw. I pushed you away, he admitted, curled on the couch. Like Dad did me. We cried, held, recommitted. Nana passed quietly, a week before Halloween. Peaceful, surrounded by her boys. The funeral in Manchester was a blur of black suits and hymns. Vincent's eulogy choking me up. She taught me love's the bravest fight. In the churchyard, rain slicked, he leaned on me. Couldn't have done this without you. Back in Bristol, grief wove into our weave. Nights of silence broken by stories. Days honoring her with volunteer shifts at a queer youth center. Vulnerability bonded us deeper, conflicts forging steel. Thanksgiving loomed, our first joint stateside jaunt. Nerves jangled, customs lines, jet lag, and law interrogations. But as the plane banked over the Midwest, Vincent squeezed my hand. We've got this. Kansas welcomed with crisp air and pickup trucks, Mom's pie waiting. Dad shook Vincent's hand firm. Welcome, son. The word a balm. Dinners sparked, debates on football, Vincent's dry wit disarming. Jake even swung by. Awkward amends offered. Grown up, huh? Progress, messy and miraculous. We left fortified, promises exchanged, summer wedding talk, maybe. Not rings yet, but rings in our future. Exile's echo faded, replaced by belonging's hum. Back in Bristol, under harbor lights, I traced Vincent's jaw. Thank you, for the airport, for everything. He smiled, that crooked one. Ditto, cowboy. Homes wherever we are. Winter clamped down on Bristol like a stern headmaster. Frost etching the harbor windows. Holiday lights twinkling defiant against the dark. Vincent and I dove into the season with deliberate cheer, stringing fairy lights in our flat, baking mince pies, mine lopsided, his precise, volunteering at the youth center's winter drive for homeless queer kids. Each wrapped scarf handed out felt like defiance, a stitch in the tapestry of resilience Nana had embodied. Her absence ached, a hollow in Vincent's laugh, but it drew us closer, our grief a shared language. Christmas plans solidified, Kansas-bound, full immersion. Mom overnight ornaments, your favorites, Randy, and Dad's emails warmed to anecdotes. Fix the truck. Reminds me of our shop days. I forwarded them to Vincent, who quipped, bloke's coming around. Careful, or he'll start quoting Elton John. Laughter bridged the miles, but undercurrents swirled. My promotion at the bistro meant more hours, fat tips, but exhaustion bred irritability, snaps over laundry, silences over supper. We're okay, Vincent murmured during one standoff, pulling me into a slow dance in the kitchen to Radiohead's True Love Waits. We were, mostly, flawed, human, healing. The flight to Kansas City was turbulence-free, a good omen. Customs spat us out into Mom's minivan, heater blasting, carols on low. Home hit visceral, snow-dusted fields, the scent of pine from a lopsided tree in the living room. Hugs enveloped, Mom's tearful, Dad's back thumping, and Vincent was swept in, no side-eye. Call me Vin, he offered, drawl mocking my accent to break ice. Dad chuckled, a rare thaw. Holiday rituals unfolded with awkward grace. Christmas Eve service at First Baptist, neutral pews, no fire and brimstone. Pastor Hale, still there, graying, even nodded post-sermon. Good to see you, Whitaker. Back home, eggnog flowed, stories swapped. Vincent's Nana tales softening the room, my London adventures drawing wide eyes. Dad pulled me aside by the garage, tools glinting under fluorescence. He's a good one, son. Makes you light. The admission cracked me. I hugged him fierce, words failing. But contention brewed, inevitable as Midwest blizzards. Boxing Day dinner. Aunts and uncles crammed the table, conversation veering to current events. That politician's latest anti-trans bill splashed across headlines. Uncle Ray, red-faced from wine, grumbled. Folks like you push too hard. Live quiet. No need for parades. The table tensed, forks pausing. Vincent stiffened beside me, but I jumped in, heart hammering. Quiet. That's what got me exiled, Uncle. Hiding kills slower than hate. Silence blanketed, then Mom's soft. Randy's right. We've learned that. Dad cleared throat. Family sticks, Ray. End of. The pivot stunned, support, public and pained. Ray muttered apology, face flushed, but the air cleared, tots of whiskey passed. Later, Vincent squeezed my knee under the table. Brave love. Validation, warm as hearth fire. New Year's brought revelry. Backyard bonfire with Jake and his fiancée, esmores and shotgun regrets. Jake pulled me aside, beer in hand. Saw you stand up. Respect. Sorry for. Before, amends landed genuine. We clinked bottles, bridges mending crooked but sure. As midnight struck, Vincent and I stole to the porch, fireworks blooming overhead. To us, he toasted with stolen champagne, kissing me under stars that felt like home. Return to Bristol was bittersweet, jet lag haze, piled laundry, but fortified hearts. Work ramped, spring teases loomed with daffodils and decision points. Vincent's graphic gigs bloomed, a queer mag commission, posters for pride. Mine too, bistro manager floated, stability beckoning. But a shadow loomed, visas. My tourist stint stretched thin, work papers loomed bureaucratic. One drizzly March eve, over curry at our favorite spot, Vincent broached it. Applied for a stateside visa, you know. If we wanted options. My fork stilled. Options. Kansas Redux, or Bristol's hard-won haven. And if I stay? I pressed, fork tracing patterns in rice. His eyes searched mine, vulnerable. Then I stay? But no more one-ways, for either of us. The offer hung, a crossroads. Nights blurred in debate. Pros of home, family mending, familiar rhythms. Cons, conservative undercurrents, distance from queer hubs. Vincent's patience anchored, lists made, pros wait. It's your exile's echo, he said gently. Choose from strength, not fear. April showers birthed May flowers and clarity. Aunt Clara's birthday bash, garden party with fairy cakes, crystallized it. Surrounded by her eclectic crew, drag queens, activists, kin by choice, I watched Vincent charm, then pull me aside. Miss Nana here, he murmured, but grinned. Feels right, though. It did. That night, visa forms and signed, I booked Kansas tickets. One way there, round trip back. Visit, I told him. Test waters. But Bristol's home. Relief lit his face. We danced in the garden, oblivious to rain. The trip was trial by normalcy. Dad's fishing outing, Vincent baiting hooks, cracking puns, Mom's baking lessons, flower fights ensuing. Conflicts nipped, cousins' offhand lifestyle jab, swiftly checked, but resilience held. Jake's wedding invite arrived mid-stay. You and Vin? Honor. Inclusion. Earned. Back in June heat, pride fever gripped Bristol. Parades, panels, our youth center booth swamped. Vincent emceed a panel on coming out stories. I shared mine, voice steady, crowd nodding. High on unity, we wandered the festival after, rainbow face paint smudged, hands linked. This, I said, gesturing to the throng, is us. Unapologetic. But climax crashed unheralded. A call from Kansas, Dad's voice wrecked. Heart attack, son. Mild but, come. Panic surged. Vincent packed with me, impromptu co-pilot. The flight was agony. Turbulence mirroring my gut. Hospital sterile. Dad pale but gruff. Scared your mum shitless. Hugs, vows of checkups. Vincent's presence steadied. Holding Mom's hand, fetching coffees. Family. Dad wheezed later, gripping Vincent's arm. Both of you. Recovery wove us tighter. Remote work let Vincent stay a week. Fishing tails swapped over Jell-O. Return flight, Dad's parting. Don't be strangers. Love you, boys. Tears flowed unchecked. Bristol summer peaked golden. Harbor sails, ice creams melting. Over bridge walks, Vincent proposed proper. Rings simple, silver with engraved always. Marry me? Here, there, wherever. Yes choked out, ecstatic. Fall brought wedding whispers, small, queer, bridging worlds. Bristol registry, Kansas reception. Conflicts resolved in layers. Uncle Ray's RSVP regret, swiftly forgiven. Jake best man nod. Youth center kids toasted us, symbols of cycles broken. Winter's end, vows exchanged under suspension bridge arches. Rainbow ties, Clara officiating, friends cheering. In exile, we found home. I vowed, Vincent's eyes shining. In you. Years unfurled. Kids via surrogate, his dream realized. Careers blooming. Kansas visits routine. Dad's pride swelled at grandkid pics. Mom's quilts warmed Bristol winters. Betrayals faded scars. Conflicts lessons. Love the constant. We'd raged, wept, chosen, phoenix from ashes. Human, messy, magnificent. And in quiet dawns, his head on my chest, I knew, worth every one-way mile.